DraftKings is a company I've got a ton of requests to cover here on the channel lately, so I spent some time understanding this business better to present to you guys here today. This took a lot of time and effort because I've never heard of this business before, so I really had to dig up from the ground up, everything about this company, the background of this company, what their goals are, and their financial situation. So if you guys appreciate the effort behind this, all you have to do is hit that like button down below to show your support for the channel. So this company is mainly focused on sports betting, and it recently IPO'd at probably the worst possible time for a sports-based company because there's absolutely no sports happening on a global scale. Nonetheless, the stock did officially IPO in April 2020 through a reverse merger with a specific purpose acquisition company. And you can now buy the stock under the ticker symbol DKNG. And here you can see the chart, which has been on an absolute tear recently. And many who have got in at the IPO day have made some handsome gains in just a few weeks. Now, there isn't a whole lot of information of this new combined company here because it is so new, but they did release an earnings report recently, which we will walk through here today. This will give us obviously an idea of their financial situation, the growth of the company, their future prospects, and whether this company does make sense as a potential investment. So in a nutshell, DraftKings allows users to enter daily and weekly fantasy sports related contests and win money based on individual player and team performances. They allow this with many worldwide sports, including the 5 major American leagues like the NBA and NFL, for example. And for soccer fans, you have the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League. And there's also other types of sports like NASCAR, CFL, MMA, and tennis. Unfortunately, there aren't many international sports right now like cricket, but maybe that is coming soon. Here we can see a timeline of the company from inception back in 2012, and they've slowly grown to a user base of over 12 million users. Now, to be honest, I'm not too impressed with this number. It is a decent user base, but when I look at their year-over-year growth rate, it's only about a 10 to 15% growth. But for a company this small, I'd like to see numbers much higher, so that's the first thing I personally noticed. On the positive side, there has been a couple big deals that the company has made over the years, like the recent deal to make them the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. They also have an investment from 21st Century Fox back in 2015, and if you've been keeping up with Disney and the news around that, you know that they bought this company recently, so now Disney officially holds a 6% stake in DraftKings, which is quite interesting. But now it kind of intrigued me because I was wondering why Disney directly didn't invest in this company, because they are really big in the sports space. And digging deeper, I found that in 2015, ESPN, which is owned by Disney, backed out of a deal to invest $250 million for a rough 20% stake in DraftKings. This was because Disney did not want to be involved in gambling adjacent industries, and their former CEO Bob Iger stated that he didn't expect Disney to participate or facilitate any gambling-like activities. But now that Bob isn't the man in charge anymore, this could be a different story. But keep in mind that he still technically has a seat on the board here, I believe, until 2021, so he does still have an influence on the company. In my opinion, this is a big risk to DraftKings because if Iger pushes to sell their stake in DraftKings because they want to cut their ties with the gambling-related industry, this stock could take a huge hit essentially overnight. Now, will that happen? That's kind of up in the air here. It is a fairly small chance that it will happen, and it is a fairly small stake for Disney, and Iger isn't really the man in charge anymore. But nonetheless, it is a risk that we need to consider if you are investing in this stock. Now, the biggest appeal that I've seen from investors that are buying into the stock right now is the huge potential industry that they're going after and the massive amounts of money they can make from this industry. The global gaming market is estimated to be nearly $500 billion industry, with sports betting making up around 16%. 16% of this industry means that the total market on a global scale equates to around $73 billion just for online sports betting. Now, for them to be a truly large player globally, they need to tackle the global market here, in my opinion. And if they're able to even claim, say, 10% of this market over time, this gives them an opportunity of over $7 billion of revenue a year. The new combined company currently pulls in over $100 million a year, so they have a long way to go, which can be seen either as an uphill battle or a huge growth opportunity. Now, the company also gives us a bit of insight here on how much the users spend on their platforms currently, and we can see that the average revenue per monthly unique payer was around $41, which was up from $37 in 2019, so there was some growth but nothing huge here. Nonetheless, it was still growth, so we need to give them a plus for that, and this is a positive trend in general for the business as it expands its reach currently around the US. Now, as with any company that's kind of in this gambling or casino or kind of betting space, there is a lot of regulations on a country-by-country basis or even a state-by-state basis. In the US, 21 states have legalized sports betting, but only 14 of them have allowed for online use. This means that while it may seem like a lot of the market is able to participate right now with this company, in reality, the majority of the US still doesn't have the legal system in place for sports betting, let alone an online betting and live betting system. So we can see here another thing that I have noticed is that as we get deeper and deeper into the niche that DraftKings is playing in, the addressable market that they're really able to tackle right now continues to shrink. So as an investor, this is a bit concerning here because it kind of tells me that this company is going to have to constantly be in battles with regulators to pass regulations to allow this kind of betting in different states and eventually in different countries. As of right now, you can see majority of the US still does not allow online live betting, and the true potential for this company is through that medium. So it really is kind of up in the air here to see if regulators are open to changing the previous set rules where, sports betting and gambling is bad and shouldn't be encouraged, to okay, maybe there's an industry for this, maybe we can make a lot of money from taxes from this, so let's start to open things up, regulate the industry a bit better, and allow a company like DraftKings to actually prosper from this. So really this could be seen one of two ways here as an investor in this stock. One, this could be seen as a very negative thing because there's tons of hurdles that they have to overcome to eventually be able to openly sell their platform and their product across the US here. But the second is that there's a huge market that they can go after here. Right now, there's only a few states, like we saw, that allow this kind of betting. And as more states open up, that gives them the opportunity to be the #1 player in those states as well. And as they continue doing that, they can continue growing their revenue and their profits and becoming a larger and larger company. So really, in my opinion, there's a strong bullish and bearish case here for this company. I'm not really sure where I stand right now. I do feel that the regulation hurdles are going to be a challenge for this company, not only for the next couple of years, but for the next few years at least. And depending on the party in charge really of the country, this could either be an easy thing to overcome or a much more difficult thing to overcome. The company, though, is of course extremely optimistic on their future, and they have outlined 9 key factors here that make them unique and well positioned to succeed. Some of the highlights, in my opinion, would be their user base, which continues to grow year over year, and their focus and use of technology to continue improving their platform. They provide a seamless experience to bet across different states and most likely different countries as well as regulations continue to pass globally. And really the fact is that they have a very good brand name here that consumers recognize, which is a big reason why I'm even making this video, because so many of you recognize this company, are investing in this company, consider investing in this company, and want to hear my thoughts on this company. Now here's an interesting chart showing the brand awareness and preference among consumers. At first you may think this is the market share here, but don't get this confused. DraftKings claims that they are the most preferred betting platform with consumers, and other competitors that I've come across before, like Bet365 for example, are way behind when it comes to this metric. Now personally, I would not put a whole lot of faith and confidence in this stat here because it can easily be skewed, but it is something to keep in the back of your mind as a possible bullish point for this company. The biggest competitor to DraftKings is FanDuel here in the US because they have a similar model for betting, and funny enough, both companies a few years ago tried to do a merger, but that was eventually blocked and never got a chance to pan out. If you do a Google search now for FanDuel, the first result will be an ad for DraftKings, which I found pretty ironic here and wanted to include that in this video. As of today, you cannot invest in FanDuel directly because they are a private company, and there is speculation of them possibly going public at some point, especially after they saw the success that DraftKings received when they went public. But as it stands today, guys, if you want exposure to this industry here, online sports betting and kind of live sports betting in the US, DraftKings looks like your best bet. So the big question, is DraftKings really a good investment here today? Well, considering that this company is trading at over a $12 billion market cap, has no PE because it's not profitable, has no dividends, and really is moving on speculation here, it's very difficult for me to say that this is a good investment, at least for me today. The only thing I can really look at is the possible market that they can go after here, which we discussed in this video, is probably around $7 billion or so, at least for the near term. And the market cap right now is trading at over 12 billion, so almost double that potential. So it's safe to say here, at least in my opinion, that the stock is priced to perfection, and they need to execute and really have all of this pan out to justify that sort of valuation. Remember, the current revenue for the company is at around $100 million or so we're trading at a 120x multiple when we look at the revenue to market cap. That is absolutely astronomical, especially for a business that's just so small, has not really proven itself on a global scale yet, and has a long way to go, especially when it comes to regulations. Now, I do believe that this sort of industry will be a growing industry going forward. I don't think that the sports betting world is really going to shrink over time. And similar to what we saw with investing apps, with Robinhood, Webull, all these other platforms that popped out of nowhere and just allowed users to just start investing much easier, I think we're going to see something very similar with the sports betting world with DraftKings and possibly other competitors, where their apps are just readily available, you can download them and just place a bet within minutes. I think that's kind of the future that we're going towards here, and as regulations ease up on this, I think that's a reality. But the real questions are, how long will that take, and realistically, how much money can be made from this business? Just remember that just 1 month ago, this was a $6 billion market cap business, and now it's more than doubled in just a span of a month. And it really makes me question, has the business done anything in the last month that justifies this double up in their market cap? In my opinion, on a fundamental level, the answer is no, which is why I have a hard time justifying their current valuation. Now, I personally will probably not be investing in DraftKings here, at least not at these prices. But if somehow, some miracle, we get down to under a $1 billion market cap, I mean, it could happen over time, never know. That's when I would really consider buying into this company. I think that the potential is there. I think that the market is there, but I think to get there is going to take a very long time, and there's a lot of hurdles to overcome before this company can truly be successful. I do realize there's a lot of money to be made in the short term here with the stock, but I'm personally not a short-term investor. I don't like speculating on those types of things, and I know a lot of you guys are buying into this company right now. So if you are, just be careful with that investment, because things could turn around very quickly. The stock could lose half its value or more in a blink of an eye, so just be careful with that. But regardless, I want to hear your thoughts, your bullish thesis for a lot of you buying the stocks in the comment section down below, and I want to see if there's any good points there to really convince me that this is a good investment at these current valuations. Guys, hope you enjoyed this video. This was a highly requested video, as I said, so drop a like down below to show your support. Let me know what other stocks you want me to cover in the comment section down below. But either way, guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one.